Hello and welcome back to the Yesteryear podcast. My name is James. I'm joined by my most excellent co-host, Beth. Well, Beth, it's already halfway through November and one day closer to Turkey Day.
Oh, good.
Yeah?
You making cornbread muffins this year?
Well, hold up. Around here, we love some Turkey Day. We love some Thanksgiving. So, what do you look forward to the most for Thanksgiving?
I just said that. I just said cornbread muffins.
That's what you're looking forward to most?
That's what I'm looking forward to every year.
I was actually going to ask you, is there anything that you want me to make specifically that maybe you don't get or that I do get?
Cornbread muffin.
The sweet cornbread muffins?
Cornbread muffin, yes. And you make like
40 of them.
40 of them, and I eat every single one. Maybe there's like 2 I don't get because you eat some. Yeah, but I literally eat all of them.
Is that good for you?
No. How would you ask me that? You know it's not good for me. But my teacher asked that too. My ecology teacher, she asked us what our plate is.
Yeah.
And I don't eat a lot of Thanksgiving things. Like we're talking about like broccoli casserole, whatever. And then I'm a very simple person. I like me some mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
A little bit of turkey. Can't handle too much. I got a small stomach. Gravy on all of that.
Right.
And then,
of course,
maybe like a nice amount of corn, some sweet corn, maybe.
Oh, you want some sweet corn?
Yeah,
I like cream corn, but nobody else does.
No, I don't like cream corn.
I like to slurp it.
I like sweet corn.
And
then cornbread muffins. I don't like pie.
I do.
I hate pie. So I don't end up eating a lot on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
it's kind of lackluster for me. But I do like the fruit palettes. When we used to buy the cheese pallets too.
Yeah. And
I like the fruit ones and the cheese ones. There's one Thanksgiving that I always think of where we were on the living room at one of the old house house, and you had decked. It was we went ham this year.
Yeah.
It was just us. It was all the money went into this. And there were 7 different platters and a whole we used the dining room table too, which we never eat at, and it was great. We were pasta the peas. Oh, and the rolls. Oh, I love rolls. That too.
Yeah, we'll have to get some of that. I don't think that did you eat the bruschetta meat that had the cheese rolled in it, and so was the cheese, and then the meat was rolled around it. Did you eat those?
I can't remember.
Oh man, they're good.
Maybe.
I like it all. I love it all.
The chips, the Rice Krispie treats. You make those too.
when you don't,
when I don't melt the spoon into it.
When you don't melt the spoon in it, and I still ate it.
Well, maybe we could eat around the plastic.
Yeah, no. I just ate the plastic.
Oh gosh, it smelled horrible.
It did smell horrible.
I felt awful.
All right, well, no problem. I think that I can make that happen this year. I'll get some cornbread muffins, some sweet cornbread muffins. I'm looking forward to the chocolate cream pie, pumpkin pie, maybe some cheesecake, and deviled eggs.
It just sounds really fat.
I'm such a fatty. I'm
pie, deviled eggs.
I mean, and then, what's really funny is that, your mom, she loves Thanksgiving. She loves to go ham on Thanksgiving. And
you know what? That'd be good too, some ham.
Although I love Thanksgiving Day, I like it for the desserts and, like you said, the sides. I literally don't even need the whole meal. And she does though, man. She every bit of that turkey gets eaten. So yeah, and then we do Thanksgiving for the dogs, so they get some sweet potato and some corn and something else. I don't know. Don't people if dogs aren't supposed to get corn, they don't get it. So don't be like, you're not supposed to give me your dog corn. I don't know, but whatever they're supposed to get, they get
the meat.
So, and they do get some meat, and they sit there and drool, and it's funny to watch them because they sit there and eat off their little plates. So, speaking of deviled eggs, I want to talk about something. All right?
All right.
I want to talk about scarecrows and how ineffective they are at actually scaring crows. I know. It's so different.
What the hell kind of connection is that? Yes.
So, anytime I see one, it has crows on it. Have you noticed that? I saw this today, and it just made me really think of it. I saw a scarecrow.
In spooky movies or just in general?
In general. You see scarecrows, and there's scarecrows on them. I mean, there's crows on them. But let me tell you this. I'm terrified of those stupid things.
Scarecrows?
Yeah. Yeah, they should be called Scared Jameses. You laugh hard.
I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent towards them, I suppose. I think they only really freak me out if it's nighttime.
I don't know. It's just this...
Or if I'm alone.
This freaky
If you were in a corn and it's just you in the corn and you get up on one of those things, I'm going to think it's alive.
Exactly.
You're not going to change my mind.
Now, I have no interest in going into cornfields.
I'd be really respectful towards it, though. I'd be all like, oh, hello, mister.
Right. You'd be...
Because if you're disrespectful, then it kills you.
That's what happens.
That's the moral of the story.
You hear the... and then you look back and the cross is just empty. And then,
you're
great.
like, well, yeah, I'm just going to sit over here by the cross. Make sure, he doesn't have to walk far.
I don't want him to
Is there a mushroom nearby?
Throwback. Sweet.
Yeah, throwback.
All right. So, yeah, I thought that would just be interesting. Because I
don't know what that has to do with eggs, though.
It has, nothing. It has nothing to do with anything. I was literally driving down the road and I saw one and it had like 10 crows on it. I'm like...
wow, you were driving... Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've never... Did we live a lot? Where did you go far?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you go down,
it was
down the street by the Kroger.
Yeah. Somebody had it in their yard for like more of a decoration thing.
And there were
but
crows
it was a
on
scarecrow and there were crows on it, which I thought was.
I can never tell the difference between crows and ravens. They look the same to me.
I think they make different noises. One goes squaw.
No, I don't think either of them go squaw.
I do know that they make horrible noises. So, and they one did their noise today and scared the heck out of the dog.
They really drilled into us as children that the crows represented death.
Yeah.
And so anytime when I was younger, there were crows around, I just always assumed somebody was going to die within the household.
No, that's fair. I do know that they say, I think it's crows or ravens, and I don't know if they're the same thing or not. But either way, I think the size of them makes it different. I don't know, man.
I think one's more slender, more pigeon.
I do know that they say that they have memory. That they remember your face.
Oh, yeah. Crows do. Yeah, crows do.
That's...
Because if you're mean to one crow, it remembers and that brings its family with it.
It's a murder of crows.
Yeah. It's squad. It rolls up.
And there it is.
Yeah,
see?
there it is.
And then they show up.
Nah, don't do the squad thing. That's not how birds sound. No bird sounds like that.
Eagles sound like that.
No, eagles are only so ugly.
National treasure.
National treasure. But how that's always like a side picture of eagles. It's because when you face them head on, they're just weird looking.
Really? I don't think. I've only ever seen profiles of eagles.
They're ugly, bro. Here, I'll pick up a picture real fast.
All right, let me see.
I encourage everyone to do it.
Everybody, right now, get out like picture pages, except it's picture eagles. They do always have a side profile.
Here we go. Look at its head. Look how weird it looks.
You know what? There's a Muppet eagle that used to come on, and he is freaky looking.
Muppet. I'll look up the Muppet. Oh, the blue guy?
Yeah.
This doesn't look anything like an eagle.
Well, they used to be blue. Back in the 60s.
Oh, yeah?
And 70s.
Really?
Yeah. Eagles used to be blue. They only recently turned white and brown.
This guy's terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was... Yeah.
What's your favorite Muppet?
I'm going to be so... Well, I'm going to tell you, honestly, Rolf.
Can you guess what mine is?
Is it Animal?
Did you see when I looked up?
Yes.
Yeah,
I kind of saw it out of the corner of my eye.
I love Animal.
Yeah, Animal. I used to, when I was a kid, I used to make up that I was a superhero and my name was Batman Manimal. Because of him. I know.
You're so
That's a good story. Well, you know what? I did the best that I could.
I think that's rare for someone who doesn't read. I also love Kermit.
Yeah.
That's basic.
So that's what I was going to say. Kermit's just kind of like everybody loves Kermit. But Rolf.
I don't remember which one Rolf is.
He's the dog.
Oh,
because he plays the piano.
Oh, I do like this guy. He's cute.
Yeah, I was always down with Rolf, man. And then, yeah.
Oh,
no. That's unfortunate. Anyway. So, this week we are doing The Good Son. All scarecrow invasion and everything.
And deviled eggs and such.
Yeah. I'm going to say this is one of my favorite movies from the 90s. The main characters in it are awesome. The story, to me, is fantastic for the most part. It delves into what true evil can look like and has a pretty twisted ending, I think. So, I do, in fact, remember seeing this as a kid when I was younger. Actually, I want to say 14-ish, 13, 14-ish. I think it's funny because it's rated R. So I had my mom take me to the theater to buy me the ticket so that I could get in and watch it. She basically just went in, got it, and brought it back out, and then she dropped me off. I remember being nervous that someone was going to give me guff for being alone, but no one did. They could give They didn't care.
I always worried about that too. I think there was when we went to go see Deadpool the first time.
Yeah, but you were with us.
Right. But,
right, I was alone.
I'm trying to no, but there was one movie that I was like, I want to go see this with friends.
Oh yeah.
I think it was a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to go see this with friends, and we were worried that we were gonna have to have a parent there with us to buy the tickets with us.
I remember you talking about that, but
and
you guys
because I was asking you, I was like, would you mind coming with us and everything? So I can't remember.
Sure.
I think I watched this movie for the first time either earlier this year, like earlier or last year.
Yeah.
Because you recommended it to me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think that they bothered me because I bought snacks and it looked like I was getting enough for 2 people. So maybe they thought my mom was waiting for me.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah. Because I wasn't a small child.
I always played like the empathy card with snacks with friends. Yeah. If I go and I'm like, oh, I just, I wish I had more money so I could afford like the drinks or the popcorn. But too bad I'm just so poor. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll get the popcorn. I'll get the drinks. It's fine. Yes.
Wow.
Give me the popcorn. I want extra butter.
All the popcorn. Give me the popcorn.
But popcorn always makes me sick. It's a horrible relationship I have with popcorn. I'm popcorn, like, yeah, let's get 4 buckets. The 1 bucket. Because when we went to go see the Star Wars, we got the limited edition buckets, which I loved. Sadly, we didn't get the red one.
Right, we should have.
We should have gotten those. We should have. It was $20.
Yeah.
So, second time we went, the day after, they didn't have any more.
They sure didn't. They sold out.
But we got the bucket, and it wasn't even a small bucket. It was like a medium-sized bucket. It wasn't big, but we filled it up and I put extra butter in it.
Yeah,
extra. And, oh my gosh, I got so sick.
It's so bad for you.
So sick.
It's literally like
I don't even like
liquid
like
fat.
That. Yeah, I like kettle corn, but I really don't like regular popcorn. Huh. But when you're sitting there in front of a movie and you're just like, what do I do with my hands? You just shovel food into my mouth. So
that's what I
did. Right. Or you ended up drinking all your soda like before the previews were even done. And you were like, I gotta go pee. And then you came back and like 20 minutes into the movie, you're like, I'm pee pants again. I was like, stop talking to me.
Right. I really think that sometimes you know how a cow has like, what does it have? Like 4 stomachs or 2 stomachs or something that? I feel like I'm like that in my bladder. Like sometimes
you have 4 bladders?
Sometimes I feel like I have extra bladder.
Maybe you just have a really small bladder.
But then when it's time to because man, I down that like it's not like I'm getting like the small drink. I get like
the big one.
I can sit in the cup, you know.
My whole arm's going in it.
Right. Yeah. You suck on the straw, you get sucked down in the straw.
Right. But it's crazy how fast you can go through them. Like, I think I got like a Dr. Pepper or something.
And you put it yourself, so it's not like somebody else put it. It's not like it's like all ice and then drink. It's like ice, drink. And I suck through those things before the movie starts. And then it's kind of like a test. And it's kind of like, you don't know because it's, when you go drinking, you're breaking the seal. Once you, like, if you go out drinking, you're drinking, you're good to go. And then you go to the bathroom, you break the seal. Then all of a sudden, like, you have to just go to the bathroom. Same thing with that. It's like, if I sit there and hold it that first time, I can make it a good amount of time. But then once I pee, it's like, you gotta go again.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to strain my bladder because I'm in there like, because I'm trying to hurry up so fast to get out. And then you're like, I have to wash my hands, of course.
And you come back, you're like, what did I miss? I'm like, I don't know. I can't retain information. I don't know this one chick's name. She came in with some giant war things. I don't know. Like, what? And then you left again like 5 minutes later.
I know, it's so sad, man.
I think the only time I missed like that, I really try not to go to the bathroom during the movie. Yeah. Or like at least during like really unimportant parts. But I went. Do you remember that one time where I was sick and you took us to watch New Moon in theater? Oh my god, theater! And I was like ill. Like I was like ill.
Yes, I remember.
I kept having to throw up. So I'm like, but I'm sitting in the middle. Like I wasn't even on the end. So I keep crossing across people and everything, and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna kill this kid." And but they had the lights, you know. They had, I threw up in one of them.
That's so horrible.
I couldn't make it to the bathroom, so I just came back and I was like, oh no. And then whenever the movie ended, we're all walking out and somebody's like, oh my god, it smells like vomit over here. And I was like, like damn near passed out, dehydrated looking. I was doing terrible. Dropped all my M&Ms on the floor. Yeah, because I always get like Skittles or Nerds or something, and I open them up and I just drop them.
You for some reason attract the weirdies in the theater when we go see movies. Like there's always like we'll sit there and we're good, and then all of a sudden the weirdest guys come up and sit like almost right on top of us. Every single like whole theater open, weird guy right, and I'm like,
yeah,
what in the world? And you're like, I got like 17 jackets I spread across all the seats.
That's not even a lie. Oh my gosh, what movie was that? We came in to watch one, and I had like one jacket on, take it off, and then you like put your purse down too, and you had like 4 layers on. I was like, oh my gosh.
I don't want any. I want a whole row to myself. I'm so ridiculous. I don't want anybody sitting next to me at movies, and I'm like, I want at least 4 seats on both sides, and it's like,
oh, you always leave me next to people. Like there's always I put on my purse, and that's my extra seat, and then you sit directly next to me with your 4 jackets on the other side of you, and then I sit down, and then like Jimbo and his wife and his 4 kids sit down.
Is the seat taken? You see something in it, right? And then, like you have to fake. I guess they didn't show up. I guess they got lost in the bathroom.
Yeah, my purse is sitting here. Where I'm supposed to put my popcorn. I don't want to sit that in my lap the entire time.
Right.
Put it on somebody else.
That's so bad. I don't understand it. I don't understand why people have to come sit right on top of you. Like they literally do. Come on, sit on your lap.
Or the tall people sit right in front of you. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't see nothing.
You see me sitting here. Please don't sit in front of me, weird guy with the giant head.
And they talk about their insignificant life. Insignificant? Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Or that one lady that kept checking her phone. Oh, every time it was check phone. And I'm like, oh my god, just leave it up because the going on and off, you're gonna put me into a seizure.
That would have been really funny. Even like, oh my god, you give my kid a seizure. And I'm just over there like shaking really hard back and forth, like stupid and being like foaming at just spitting everywhere.
You can do that anyway.
I'm not like that in public. Maybe at home.
Well, okay,
but not in public. Damn.
So, you have seen it before.
Yes.
But what was your initial impression of what the movie was going to be like? Preview artwork, all that jazz?
Sorry. I'm trying to think. I always try to think the first time I watched it when it was recent like that.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about something and you were like, oh, you know what you would really like? This movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And it took me forever to watch it, obviously.
Sure.
Because, I'm not a big movie person. And so I sat down finally and I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna watch this movie. And I put it on and watched it. And I was like, oh my god, what's going on? Yeah. So I think I had a pretty good first impression of it though, since you hyped it up a lot.
Did you watch the trailer?
I did.
Did you like it?
Did you see they gave the Rotten Tomatoes 26?
Yes.
That was really low, but the reviews were great.
Right.
People were
hyping it up. Now, but yeah.
Yeah, I really liked the trailer. It was a good way to set it up, I think.
I think so too.
It made it really interesting.
And you weren't quite sure.
No.
They didn't just go off. You weren't quite sure exactly. And I was like, oh, I like that. They took parts out of it that are like,
they showed the movie without showing the movie.
Is this actually going? You're like, yeah. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5.
For the trailer?
For the trailer
4 to 5? Yeah, I definitely give it a 4. For sure.
So I would watch based off the trailer.
Cool. Very cool. So. All right, so The Good Son is a psychological thriller released on September 24th, 1993. It stars 2 great actors, Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood. And
they really hyped him up. You didn't like in the beginning, you saw when they were throwing the creds, they said a lot of I just forgot his name.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yes.
Yeah.
But not Elijah Wood.
Because at the time, Macaulay Culkin, of course, is Home Alone hype.
So this was after?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Elijah Wood had done some movies.
The Hobbit.
When he was... No, not at this point in time.
No, I know. He's like 4 years.
But he had done... he was in some other movies where he was a little boy, and then this one came out, and they saw... And then he was Casey in... The Faculty,
right?
And then from the faculty is when he went on to do the Lord of the Rings movies, and that's where he really...
I was the wrong thing altogether. It's not even the
Well, you said the Hobbit?
Is that... Oh, he's in that too?
No, they're the same. The stories are together. The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. Yeah, the Hobbit came out first, and then the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, so I've never seen
Frodo Baggins.
I don't want to. I will never. I don't think I've ever watched those.
That's what it's for.
And that's why I'll never watch it.
And you...
I did play the Lego for it, though, the Lego game.
Yeah.
It was on the DS. It was a demo, and we never got past the first scene because obviously we didn't know the game. So
yeah, I mean, if you don't know the movie...
I really didn't understand anything. There were people coming out walls. We were setting things on fire.
Setting things on
I was just, jumping off the wall because then you explode into a bunch of little pieces.
Of course.
It was very weird. It was very sad for a Lego game.
That makes sense. That makes sense. The movie follows a young boy named Mark who is sent to stay with his aunt and uncle after his mother passes away while his father goes away on business.
Right. Well, first of all, terrible parenting here. The dad's going to leave his grieving son alone who's acting weird while he goes on business. Okay.
Yeah, regardless of being okayed by that.
You just lost a parent here. Lose another one. Jackal.
So while Mark is while visiting, Mark meets his evil and sadistic cousin Henry. The film had a $17 million budget and grossed over $60 million worldwide. So definitely a success.
Yeah.
The critics were pretty hard on it at the time, even though the movie did really well. And I think it had to do with the casting of Macaulay Culkin, from what I was reading so much and everything like that, because he was such, he's Kevin.
Yeah.
He's Kevin. He's this, that, and the other. And then this part was such a stretch from that I think people just were unfair.
And you know what? I'm going to say it a lot throughout the entire thing, but he is a fantastic actor in this.
I think so too.
Dude, they both did a really good job.
I think so too.
But he playing this kid was so believable.
Right.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Like the one scene where they're up in the treehouse and he's going down. He's like, "Oh, it's my mom now," and he's like, "Don't with me."
Right.
I was like,
right. I'm gonna
roll over. Do what you want, kid. Just don't hurt me. Yep. I don't care. Oh God.
But the film has developed quite a cult following, as a lot do, and for the most part, people think fondly of this movie when they talk about it. So yeah. I think it's a good movie. I think for me, I like when you take an actor out of his element of being Kevin, and you make him something that's completely different. And not that he was some great kid as Kevin. Kevin's a little jerk.
He's mischievous, and it's it's
cutie.
It's cutie. It's like, oh, he's bad, but he's good because he cares about his family, and he's protecting his home. And the bad guys are these guys. He's not the bad kids. But this is completely a 180, completely different personality, and he did it so well.
Yep.
So well.
I think so too.
That's so cool to me. After doing all these movies, I can tell what bad acting is.
Yeah. And then you think about the age.
Right.
I mean, these kids are what, 11?
If that.
Maybe. And they're able to pull this off into a convincing manner to where, on both sides, to where you're like,
it kind of freaks you out. Kids are scary.
I can feel this. I feel the emotion of both of them. So yeah,
also being able to relate to both of them too. Yeah. Kids have that that wanting to experiment and push boundaries and everything. Yeah. And that's what Henry does. You can argue if he is a sociopath or anything like that, but he's a kid.
Right.
He's pushing out. He's trying to see how far he can go with it.
Yeah.
Killing. After doing with the little brother Richard, and then. He must have done that when he was a lot younger. Richard was he's 2 years as a baby? Maybe 1?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's relatively recent.
Yes.
It's not too long ago.
No. So, but he would have been younger, obviously. So you go from doing that. Yeah. You escalate.
Yeah, once you stop caring, though, you're pretty much, that's when we're really getting ahead. But, when he talks about flying, when he's like, when you stop caring, you can fly. And he's like, I can fly. He's like, because he doesn't care anymore. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to teach Mark that. And Mark's like,
not vibing
You're
with
a sociopath.
You're crazy. So, right, but that's the other perspective as a kid. You try to think. So either, you have that part of you that wants to experiment and push your boundaries, but the other part of you who wants to protect things and understand things and care. So it's a really good dynamic that they show here. It's a psychological movie, like you're saying. It's like a documentary on kids without it being a documentary.
Yeah.
So
weird. So we open on the credits in black, showing the name of the movie and the name of the actors. I think for the time, this was a bit of the norm. If I remember correctly, a lot of movies did the little, black and this, just the names of everybody, and you're like, okay, well. But it's not too bad. We then see a young boy standing in the desert looking towards the sun, which there's no sound. They just kind of fly over him. And we open on a boy named Mark playing in a soccer game. And Mark scores a goal, and then a man comes to retrieve him, and they both look very somber.
Yeah, he just stands still.
Mark looks concerned, and then they're in the hospital, and the doctor tells the man named Jack, stating that Mark's mom is not doing too well. Like, he literally says that. She's not doing too well. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Mark goes into the room and looks at the wedding photo and talks with the woman, who's his mom, and she asks if his dad told him everything, and he says yes. He says he don't want her to die because he won't let her. But then the next scene is a funeral in the desert, so I assume they're spreading her ashes in the desert.
Yeah, I'd be really upset if I got spread in the desert.
Well, I mean,
where am I going to roam? In the sand. Oh, look at this cactus, dear. So interesting. Oh, look. Something eating other lizards.
Where do you want to be? I mean, if you wanted your ashes spread, where do you want them?
A forest.
Really?
I mean, if anything, forest with waterfall, somewhere where it's like beautiful, absolutely breathtaking every time you go there. Like waterfall, because like nature like that, you have so much life.
Yeah.
There's movement constantly. If I was if we just sit here and we're just ghost after the world, I would love to just go sit on a log and just watch the mushrooms grow, vibe with whoever comes along. Maybe just be like, "What's up?" If they litter, I'm gonna kill them. Ghost.
Now, what about the ocean? Do you think that would be?
No, I would hate that. I fear the ocean. Why would you put me there?
You know what? You're going in the ocean.
Oh, I'm gonna. You're going first, my guy.
I already told you what my plan is.
Yeah, you want to be turned into salt and pepper and then fed to people.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true.
What?
Yeah, if you're going in the Navy...
But I'm not going to be in the water, am I? Be on a ship.
You're going to be on a... Right.
Right. That's not in the water. That's not my ashes being spread across the water. That's just going to sink me down to the bottom of the depths of the ocean where I'm going to see horrible things. No. And it's actually going to be black. I won't see anything.
No, I do. I definitely want to be putting salt and pepper shakers and put on people's food and then ha ha ha. And I want all my children to feed them to their family and guests. And then for Thanksgiving, you bring me out.
Would you like salt of James?
Yes. Would you like some saison?
Oh, but it's just so good. What it's from? Oh, my father, homemade.
Yeah, it's a family recipe.
It's homemade.
Nice.
Years of abuse to the body.
Oh, I don't abuse my body. Well, I mean, I guess all that.
Those deviled eggs in those pies.
The deviled eggs in the pie.
Yeah.
You got me. Me.
Yeah, got him. This tastes like Fat Man.
That's a really big salt shaker. He was a really big man.
Gosh. That always makes me really sad. You know, when I think of like when they cremate like kids and it's all really small.
Oh my gosh.
It makes me really sad.
That got dark.
I just, talk about the different sizes. Because you never really think about it. I always just assume it's all the same size, but different sizes of people and such.
Different, yeah, that's a good point. Oh. Different size box and everything. So we then see Mark at the after party. Do you call a funeral gathering a party?
No, I wouldn't. After event.
What do you...
After funeral.
Is it? I think it's called a wake?
A revise? A reprise.
Oh, thank you.
Like in theater?
Hey, see, I told you guys a long time ago in the episodes. I said Kathy might show up in episodes every now and then, and she's making her voice. She's got us. She got us pegged tonight.
She actually haunts us.
She haunts. She just haunts the house.
Her ashes were spread here, and now she's joining us.
I'm a ghost, and yeah. So this is on the Mark for her then because she knows about it. So then Mark is out in the desert while his dad talks to another man about leaving Mark with them while he goes to Tokyo to close a big deal. Which and he's like, I can't do this. This is not going to be right. And the guy's like, well, if you close the deal, they're going to be set for life. and he'll never have to leave Mark again.
That's true. Good point.
So the dad drives Mark to Maine to stay with his aunt and uncle while he closes the deal. What is going on? Mark talks about his mom is going to come back in some way and then runs out into the desert at some point in a bit of denial. Oh, awake. Okay.
Awake? Oh.
Oh, yeah.
And then he was right when he said it.
So I did say awake. Yeah. Anyway.
Kind of ironic.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
So, to your parenting point, I think it is kind of rough that he's just like, hey, you know, he could have taken him with him.
I honestly,
to Tokyo.
And I feel like that would have been better for a child. I mean, you get to go and see a bunch of lights, and because they have a lot of really cool stuff in Tokyo.
Sure, it's Tokyo. So, it's Tokyo. And that's going to be something that might help you get your mind off what just happened. And plus, you're still with your dad, so you've got the support system and everything like that. But no, that's not what he does.
No, you get to go stuck in a hole.
He drives him to Maine. So at one point, he kind of runs out into the desert, like when he tries to talk to him. He's like, "Why do you shut me out?"
Why would you stop the car and talk to him? Like he completely stops driving. Yeah. He's like, and the doors are unlocked.
Yeah, I think that he should have just kept driving, but whatever.
Honestly, I mean, going to Tokyo and be rich forever. So.
Because it's like, where are you going to go? You just run out in the middle. But I mean, I kind of guess it's kind of, trying to show exactly where Mark is at in his mind, which is not a good place.
No.
So they make it to Maine, which is vastly different looking than the Arizona desert setting, obviously. As they arrive to a really, really nice house.
Oh, yeah.
We see another boy standing up and taking notice. We meet Connie first, who takes Mark to show the house.
Did you know that Connie looks so much like
his sister.
His actual sister?
Yeah,
okay,
it's real.
I was thinking about it because I was like, oh my gosh, they look exactly the same.
The picture of Richard is his brother. They're all Caucasian. Yeah.
Oh, that's depressing.
Yeah, they were really big in Hollywood at that point in time, and yeah. Well, yeah. So, anyway.
But I was thinking, dang.
Yeah.
This looks like an actual family.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So Connie takes him to meet her mom first, and then Henry comes down with these spooky-ass masks made out of paper mache.
You know what they made me think of? That one year of middle school where I took the art class, and we did that. We made little masks, but we had to, put the paper on our faces and let it dry and then peel them off.
I'm not doing that project.
We had to do it. I gave you that mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, you held on to it for a little while.
We still have it.
It's
I promise you, it's
purple
out there.
And it doesn't fit my face anymore.
It's out in the memory box, kid. Yeah. I promise you. So Henry says he made one for Mark as well, and they put them on and stare at each other weirdly, really close too. And I was like,
that was the first sign for me. I was like,
yeah, this is
weird.
This is.
He's like, put them on, and he's staring at it.
Yeah, he says we can now we can be brothers.
Now we can be brothers.
And I'm like, you're creepy.
Yeah, you're weird.
But I mean, whatever. It's your house. His aunt Susan tells his dad about a psychiatrist that would be happy to meet with Mark as well to talk to him about the whole passing of the mother thing. And his dad's like, yeah, I think that'd be a good thing. So, whatever. So they're setting that up. They have dinner and Mark looks freaked out at the lobster. Like he has no clue what to do with it. And Henry kicks him under the table really hard. But then he kicks him back. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then helps him with the getting the lobster claws open. So I was
boys being boys.
Boys being boys. Let's see. Mark says goodbye to his dad, and his dad explains that he is leaving now so that he never has to leave him again, and that it should only be about 2 weeks, which I didn't catch. I didn't remember it only being 2 weeks. I actually thought it was a lot longer. So there's no playing around in this movie. There's not we're good, and then... No, now I go crazy. He's like, hey, I'm kind of crazy from the jump, and this is really quick crazy. 2 weeks worth of crazy. So,
yeah.
The next day, Mark wakes to Henry playing Army outside and runs to play too. However, he's distracted by an open door to a baby's room. Mark eats breakfast first before going out and talks with Susan about how his first night was, which he says was all right. Mark goes out to play with Henry, and Henry takes him to his fort. And let's just talk about this fort.
Oh, it's so unsafe. Because I was like, oh, a treehouse. And then I was like, that's an incredibly unsafe treehouse.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that an adult put it up. If Henry built it, I guess good on him, I guess. But the way the planks spiral around the tree and you literally have to hang upside down to get into it.
Well, actually, that's not true. I don't know if you looked at the tree, but the step, the climbing up the ladder part, it actually goes up into an area. It's separated. Henry decided to be all risky and take the branch. Yeah, I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, but I was really looking at like where it went, but it curls up into a giant hole in it.
You can, so I saw that after, like in when he's climbing down. Well, he takes a rope down.
He takes a rope down, yeah,
but you can see it. Mm-hmm. But at that same time, those things, the way that they're put onto the tree, it's just not safe.
It's not safe. Either way, it's not safe. But and the way Henry went up the first time definitely was not safe.
If you're a parent and you built that for him like that, you're a jerk. If he did it himself, then I'm impressed.
It's a really tall tree, too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are you afraid of heights? Well, no, but I'm afraid of rickety...
Tetanus. I'm scared of tetanus.
Rickety trees and such. I'm not... Oh,
wrong move, and you just scrape your hand open, and you're dead, yeah.
It's not like it's, I'm a little hurt. It's, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is balls to that.
It could have been... you know what? After watching the ending, it could have been a little foreshadowing.
Yes.
How he hangs off like that,
yep.
And it looks about the same height.
Yep. Mark climbs up after Henry, and Henry makes it up fine, but when Mark reaches the top, the branch he stands on breaks, and he almost falls, being caught by Henry. And Henry asks Mark, if you let him go, do you think he would fly? Which is creepy, but all Mark can say is help.
Yeah, same. Well, it was really, I love this, man. It was so cool to see both, like, the way they reacted to it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You have Mark, who's like an actual kid here, terrified. He's like, "What the hell's going on, dude?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just a kid, and I'm about to die, and this treehouse was the worst idea ever." And then you have Henry, who's like, "If I dropped him right now, what do you think would happen?" You know?
Right. He's very right. He's not. He has no emotion.
No.
So, Henry does help him up, and he makes it up, and it's a pretty tense scene. Not to mention the little sister Connie is just standing there watching the entire thing dumbfaced. Like, she doesn't run and say, "Oh, help, Mark's gonna fall," or she doesn't scream or yell. She's just literally standing there watching.
As a kid, I mean, that's what you do, though.
I feel like I would have gone and got
No,
help.
you think that you would, but there were plenty of times where I'm sitting my siblings here, like, close to death, and I'm just like, well...
Weird.
What do I do here, you know? Or it's more like it's like a movie. It's like you're watching it happen. You're just like, I don't... Maybe it's because we're drilled, like it's drilled into our head as children that we're useless.
I guess.
In situations like that.
I don't know.
You always want an adult. So as me, like as a 40-year-old, if I'm sitting here watching this guy, he's just hanging off, I'm just like, well, when's the adult gonna show up?
I gotcha. When I was a kid, I think I was like 8 or 9 or something like that. And I was up on top of my, we had jungle gym thing, like monkey bars.
Ooh.
And I was up on top of them dancing. And I fell between them and I broke my arm. I fractured my wrist.
Oh, gosh.
And just at that time, my sister Jody was coming out to tell me that dinner was there. They had got Pizza Hut. And she just kind of sat there. I just remember seeing her face. And I was afraid I was going to get in trouble. So I was like, I'm okay. No, wait. Oh, my arm. So she kind of like, at first, I don't think she really knew what to do.
No, yeah.
And then she kind of helped me in. And then I ate first. Then they took me to the hospital. Of course. I'm not missing out on no hot Pizza Hut pizza.
Ow.
And then they took me, I was in 2nd grade.
I always wanted to break a bone when I was younger because we had these really cool... Okay, I wanted to break a leg. Because they had these wheelchairs that they put us in, and we had like designated drivers in the class who like let a wheel you around, and you got to drag this gator too. And it was
the gator on wheels or on a skateboard. Yeah, yes. I remember.
I wanted to do that so bad, so I was like, "Oh my gosh, please, can I break a leg? Please, just break a leg." I never broke a leg.
Which is amazing because you are the clumsiest child.
Yes, I've never broken. I probably broken fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I used to jam them all the time on the walls.
Yeah.
Because I would, when you like run your fingers against like the bricks, I guess. I don't know what they're called. But we'd run them. But sometimes you hit a corner wrong and like it just like breaks your finger, but without breaking it. But like once it got real purple and ugly and they just put a brace on it.
Yeah.
I could have broken it then.
Huh.
But to my knowledge, I've never broken anything. But I have had awful toe history.
Yeah. Yes.
Ingrown toenails type things.
It's because you got funky feet.
It's because I got funky feet. It's because my feet are wide. I got your feet.
I'm sorry.
Wide set feet that should not be so they make women's shoes for it, so I gotta wear men's shoes.
You're like Peggy Hill. She's got really big feet.
Don't laugh at that. That's awful. You guys are the worst.
I'll have to show you.
I know what you're talking about.
It's one of the best episodes ever of King of the Hill. Not to get off topic that we already are, but oh my gosh! And the girl, she sits there and she says something about her feet. She's like, "Oh, you have really big feet, Miss Hill," or something like that. And they just show Becky's face, and she just don't.
That's how I am.
She's just angry faced.
Oh.
So anyway. Later
Why does this always turn into Hate Beth hour? It's always just something about me.
All right, guys, it's James, and it's that time again where we get a little bit serious. Basically, what I want to talk to you today about is your well-being and how you need to take it as seriously as you take your podcast choices. There's a product, Hemp Vita. It's one of the most trusted hemp brands on the market, and for really good reasons. Featuring only organic, American-grown hemp in every potent product, Hemp Vita takes health and ingredient transparency seriously while providing you with convenient and easy-to-use products. One of the products they got is the Hemp Vita Hemp Oil Infused Pain Patch. This high-potency patch releases hemp extract over 24 hours, giving you a steady support you need day and night. They've also got oils on there to help you sleep. They've got every kind of product that you can imagine that's really focused on pain management, and it's hemp-based. And I just cannot push enough about how this is going to help you guys. This is something that I really believe in. You can experience the Hemp Vita difference today by visiting hempvita.com. That's hemp, H-E-M-P, Vita, V-I-T-A.com. Now, this is really cool. For a limited time, you can receive up to 20% off any order with this unique code, yesteryear. That's going to let them know that you heard them on our show, and they're going to give you 20% off for doing so. So, guys, I really head on over, hempvita.com. Again, that's H-E-M-P, Vita, V-I-T-A.com, and check them out. Get a little something. Get your pain under control in a nice, natural, healthy way. You know, the way that's going to make you happy and say, wow, I'm glad that I listened to James on the Yesteryear podcast, and this guy, you know, he led me right to what I need. All right, we're now back to the show. So later that day, Henry takes Mark to a busted out building, and they throw rocks through a window, breaking them.
I would have loved this as a kid.
Yeah. Which, you know, pretty therapeutic if you think about it.
Yes.
They get busted by a man and run off before getting caught. So, just, quote unquote boy stuff. They're just doing mischievy type little stuff that Henry knows that they can go do, and Mark's just going along for the ride with it. And it really made me think about when I used to go for summers to hang out with my cousin Kenny, or he would come down to the house. This is literally how we were too. Whatever mischievy type stuff that we were doing, that's what we would. Hey, oh man, you got to come along, ride a bike, and we'll go over here and do this stupid stuff, or we'll whatever. So
I had a friend, like in 4th and 5th grade, they split our like elementary school or grade like down the middle. And we got like separated. So I got separated from like all the friends I had. Yeah. And I met this boy, and his name was Jeremy, who reminds me so much of Henry.
Oh yeah.
Just with more emotion, because he like didn't care. First of all, like he was just, and his family was rich, so they like also could cover up a lot of it.
Oh.
So we were like, okay, we're gonna be friends with you out of fear. Pretty much is what it was. But he was also really funny, and so we were sitting there, and he like brought his lunch one day. And he was like, oh, it's astronaut food. It's like what they eat in space. So we were like, oh, you got it from space. No. So he had like astronaut ice cream. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, let me try that.
I had that one with the space camp.
It was disgusting. It was awful. It's awful. I was pissed. Because I had traded like some of my food for it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have like home lunches most of the time. So it was either I was getting it from the school, which was like bread and mashed potatoes, or it was one of those random months where we actually got like cosmic brownies and muffins and such, and that's what I had for lunch.
Yeah.
And I brought I had traded good stuff for this astronaut ice cream, and I take one bite, and I was just, oh my god, dude, I was so mad. I was like, I could strangle you.
Yeah, it's freeze-dried ice cream. So basically, you put it in your mouth, and all the liquid sucks out of your mouth into the ice cream stuff, and you're like,
it's like horrible.
Eating... Yeah, it's not good.
No, but yeah, he reminded me a lot of him. Like, that's what I associated with this, because he used to hit us and everything. We hit back. I didn't want to go, but that's what it was like. The boys.
Yeah.
Dude, there was one of them. His name was Ty, and he was the dumbest kid I've ever met in my entire life. But he was always there for some reason, but he kept making your mom jokes, and I was like, dude, just shut up. And so we got a knife, one of the plastic knives, and we're like, oh, you want to keep making jokes? So then this is really sadistic, actually, what it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounded dark over here.
The knives game where you take your hand and you put it between the fingers.
Yeah.
That was really popular in my 5th grade year. And we were we held his hand down, and he was, ah, and we were like, I have all my fingers with the plastic knife. And one of the teachers came over, we were like, you need to cut that out right now.
This poor kid. He's got PTSD.
Yeah. We didn't talk much after that. Yeah.
Nice. So the boys run through a cemetery to where Henry's retrieves a box with a cigarette in it, and Henry gives it to Mark, who is like, they give you cancer. Yeah. And Henry's like, who cares, you're gonna die anyway.
Which, not a bad outlook on life, but
kind of dark.
Well, it's dark, but it's not a bad outlook. I mean, that's what a lot of that's how I see a lot of those people who don't have kids and go on adventures and such.
Yeah,
you're gonna die anyways. But would you, as a parent, let your kid smoke for a movie?
No.
They were like, oh, we're gonna you're gonna get a lot of money, but your kid's gotta smoke a cigarette.
Well, we'll see later that it's actually not.
Oh, it wasn't real?
No.
Did they say that in the movie?
No, I've got it in my.
Oh.
Yeah, my spoilers or my whatever.
Work?
Yeah, I don't know.
Electric.
Boogie woogie woogie. You said it. You can't.
Oh, this time. I think because I said, is it electric? Not, it's electric.
Boogie woogie woogie. So, Henry starts to talk about this scientific approach to death and how he studied his little brother when he drowned.
It makes me think he's one of those, those kids who are born too smart, so they're too far advanced and they can't handle the fact that they're kids, so they end up going crazy.
Yeah,
that's what it makes me think of. Because he was saying things that I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, my brother, was he cold or warm? Did he turn blue and everything like that? And I was like,
he was like, you should have checked your eyes, felt their skin. It's therapeutic.
Yeah. That whole conversation, I'm kind of like, man, this is okay. He then starts to ask more about Mark's mom, but Mark gets pissed and is like, shut up about my mother. And at first, Henry kind of threatens Mark, saying if they were in a fight, he would just throw him down the well. But then he apologizes.
I'm not going by the well. I'm sorry, I hate wells.
Yeah.
No, you cannot. I wouldn't even stand on it like they were. Because again, I'm clumsy, and one of those, it would be the one brick out of all of them that's loose. It would be loose. I would step on it and fall.
Yep. There's no way I'd be standing on it. There's no way I'm gonna reach across and grab his hand.
Yes.
While he's gonna pull me. He's gonna pull me over.
Pull me over into it.
Yep. Because he seems like that. I just want to see what's gonna happen type kid.
Yes.
Like what would happen? He's not necessarily.
Or would it really happen? Yeah. I'm just because I'm a kid. It's really just playing the minor card.
Yeah. Really hardcore. That night the boys are still talking late at night and they're told to go to bed. Mark tells Henry that day was fun, and Henry says, "Well, wait till tomorrow to be even better." So the next day they're walking, and this vicious dog chases them across the gated bridge, and I was like, "Where'd this dog came from?" So. They do just narrowly escape, and then Henry goats the dog on by barking at him, and Mark kind of stops him, but Henry's just a nut. He's like, I love that dog. No, you don't.
Yeah. I guess that's, I wouldn't, necessarily take anything away from that. I mean, you have a dog on the other side of the fence that can't hurt you. You're trying to its face to be like, oh, I love that dog. I say that sometimes where I'm like, oh, I like that. When it's all crazy. But I can't really.
I got you. You're not taking anything away from that. To me, it seemed like he knew that was going to happen because he was like, later. You know, he kind of like dipped on
he does leave the gate open.
Yeah.
When they first go in.
Yeah. So it almost seemed kind of planned. They come to a cliff and kind of hang over the edge and see Susan standing on the cliff as well. P.S. James don't do cliffs. No. Because I'm afraid I'm going to jump.
You're going to jump.
I'm always afraid that I'm going to jump off. Yeah.
I'm just scared. I feel like I'm going to fall off.
I'm going to get too close.
You're going to lean over. And
I'm going to lean too far and fall off. Yes.
Yeah.
Henry says she goes there to think about Richard, Henry's little brother that drowned. Henry takes Mark to his shed to show him an invention that he made. Basically, it's a crossbow that shoots bolts, which... Wow.
That's what I'm saying. This kid's smart.
Good on him.
That took me 3 months to build.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
First they shoot at a cat, and it hits the tree, and the cat's just all...
Yeah, because he was like, scare it, and then he goes over, and he's like, the aim's still a little off.
Yep.
It was like he actually meant to hit the cat.
Mark says it was a great shot, but Henry says, no, it looks like the sight's not right yet, because he was aiming at the cat.
Yeah.
He then finds Mark speaking to the psychiatrist about his mom. He clearly feels responsible for her death. Mark does.
Mm-hmm.
Later that night, Mark thinks he hears his mom go downstairs, but follows her, and it turns out to be Susan. Mark basically thinks that his mom came back in Susan, so they embrace. You got the whole story.
Yeah, right? It was weird.
Because she kept saying that she would be back, and he was like, I need to be back, and so he thinks it's Susan. Henry sees this and does not look pleased at all. At all.
No, and it introduces the idea of jealousy.
Yeah. So Mark is doing a puzzle with Connie the next day, and Henry comes to take him to play, leaving Connie behind. Who she's just a little sister. What are you going to do? Once again, they're playing with the crossbow that Henry made. They are pretending at first, and then Henry targets to shoot the dog that chased them. Mark looks instantly spooked, but Henry is pleased and lies, saying that it was just trying to scare him. So he literally shot the dog, which was crazy, because you hear the dog just...
It's really sad.
It is really sad. They then take the dog's body and chuck it down the well. And I'm like, how many other things have been thrown down this well?
Right. How many, squirrels or rabbits? Because clearly it can't be the first time.
Yep. Henry Holmes taps, but Mark is not amused. Taps.
Right.
Yeah. Later, while Henry plays with a sword, Mark sits and ponders what Henry is really all about. I liked that I got that this kid is sitting there watching him, and instead of playing, he's like, I don't know about you.
Yeah, this kid's crazy.
He's literally sitting, his face really tells the story. Mark is looking at pictures and finds one of him as a baby with his mom. Susan talks fondly of her, and then talks about Richard. Henry comes to get Mark, saying he has stuff to show him in his shed. And Mark looks hesitant at first, but then does go with him. She's like, oh, go ahead. He's like... Henry apologizes for the dog situation and then shows him a dummy that he made called Mr. Highway.
Yeah, I found their relationship very interesting because it seemed like he genuinely did like Mark at first and was trying to test to see if Mark was like him by showing him all these things.
Right.
And so I think that was cool. Because, how else would... It's kind of like when you are trying to get, tell, a friend to get into your own subjects. A good example would be, cartoons or something. So, you're touching around the subject, be like, oh, what kind of shows do you watch? Or,
oh, yeah.
Oh, have you ever heard of this? And you're like... And they're like, oh, yeah, I have dabbled. And then you just go ham on them. You're like, yes, I like this, and this, and this. So, that's what it kind of seems like. They're like... It's like messing around the bush. So then, you get the small things out of the way. You do threats... hanging them all off. You think you could fly?
Right.
You do small animals, the cat, the dog.
Right.
And now you're about to go do this. And it's like, he's not responding the way that I think he would have if he was into it.
Right.
So maybe cut it out.
Right. He says if he promises to help him, that he will show him something amazing that he will never forget. So then the next morning, they carry Mr. Highway onto an overpass, and Henry chucks him over the side, causing multiple cars to pile up, which is messed up.
Right. And I feel like one of them had to have seen the kids up there.
Yeah. I'm sure they probably saw other people, but, they probably just figure it's...
Right, but dropping them over.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of weird that I didn't get mentioned on the news or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awful. If I was one of the drivers...
Yeah.
I would be traumatized.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a horrible incident.
So once again, they run off and they see the police coming, so they hide down in like the sewer underneath the house. Underneath the not the house, the road. And Mark says, "How could you do that?" And Henry then goes into how Mark is afraid and he needs to learn how to fly, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
He basically kind of at that point kind of gives him an ultimatum of like, bro, you can say something, but you're just as guilty as me. What did you think we were going to do? You know, he plays Mark, and Mark is kind of like
manipulation type stuff.
Man.
Yeah. Right. They also, just like weird, I guess, but their side profiles, they both have perfect noses.
Huh.
They were very nice noses.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Nice. So, and then when they're walking back, he's walking behind them.
Yeah. Didn't he threaten to frame him?
Yeah.
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 Because it's like, Dad, Mark made me do it.
That's coming up. So, we hear on the radio that no one was seriously injured in the car accidents, but some people were taken to the hospital. So that's good. I mean,
I like that he was listening out for it too. Like he was actually concerned. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mark is about to tell his uncle what happened, and Henry steps in front of him, telling him that if he tells, that Henry will blame it all off on Mark. And then Henry's like, busts in the room and says, "Hey, Mark has something to tell you, Dad." But Mark runs off upstairs. I like it, man. I mean, that's what I'm telling you. It's ballsy. Mm-hmm. It's brazen. This kid, you know what?
His IQ's very high.
You want to tell me? Fine, good. I'll tell him that's you. You don't think that I will? Here, hey, boom. You know, and then Mark is like, crap. You know.
Yeah, it's a good way to say like I'm not joking around,
and he's not afraid.
No.
This kid has zero fear.
Mm.
I think that the tree fort is kind of a metaphor for that to get into the things that this kid has zero fear. As you know, with how we're always talking with onions and everything like that. I mean, there
was a lot of symbolism in this movie.
Yeah,
I agree.
Then while upstairs, Connie comes into the bedroom to tell the boys about going skating. And Henry grabs her by the ears, saying she is not supposed to come in the room. I mean, and he like grips her up pretty hard. Mark breaks it up and says that it's his room too, and if she's allowed to come in. They start fighting, and Connie runs off to get Susan, which is the natural response, in my opinion. Mom, Dad, they're fighting. Henry goes into how Mark likes Connie, and that it would be sad if anything happened to her, which, you're a nut. He then makes another comment about Richard and asking Susan about Richard. And he's like, you should ask Susan, about Richard to Mark. And Susan comes into the room asking what is going on. And Henry lies, saying they weren't fighting, but just playing a stupid game. And Mark backs it up, of course, to prevent trouble, because that's what Mark does. Because Henry's freaking manipulative.
Yeah.
We weren't fighting. He gets that voice on it. And it's like, and she's like, okay, well, you guys don't play so rough, And it's like, and she goes on about her business. The next day, Mark is with Connie at the park, and the psychiatrist finds him. They talk about the meaning of evil, and she thinks that Mark is talking about himself, but he's talking, of course, about Henry. She also says that she doesn't believe in evil. Mark says that she should. I think that part is actually in the preview, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So as they're coming back from the park, Mark's dad calls and wants to talk to Mark, but Henry says he's not available, but says they're really having a great time and love having Mark there and blah, 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 like just sells it to the dad. At breakfast, Henry lies and says that Mark wants to move into Richard's room, which is such a jerk. Yeah. I mean, like, it just comes out of his head, and you're just like, what? The dad says he thinks it's a good idea, but Susan says she's not ready for that, of course, and basically breaks down about it. And Henry looks smug for having caused the issue. Like,
it was like he was trying to ruin his credibility.
Yeah.
Like, make him seem like a terrible kid. You want to move into the dead kid's room. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
why can't you just stay where you are? You are the guest. What does it matter what you want?
You're going to be here for all of 2 weeks. What is it really? Well, he likes it in there. He wants to be in there, and he's just afraid to say something to you. And he's like, no, I really didn't say anything. She's like, oh, don't lie, Mark. And it's just like, what a garbage. I mean, he is their son. So, and you're a guest, and they already think that you're kind of screwed up in the head as it is. So they're going to believe him.
Yeah.
And you're just this lose-lose situation. And it really is kind of, that part, psychologically, is scary. It's a scary situation to be in, especially as a kid, I think.
Oh, yeah. And what it does, it really enhances the fact that kids are scary.
Yeah.
Like, kids can be really dangerous if they want to.
Right.
And getting away with things, too, because you're a child.
So, we see Susan crying in Richard's room, looking at the toys, and Henry comes in and talks to his mom about it and tells her not to cry. So he sells it right back around, like makes himself look like the good kid. And I'm like, wow, you clearly are a sickie. Susan and Wallace go out to eat because they've had it planned for months.
You wonder where he gets it from, too.
Right. It's just nature versus nurture, that whole thing with psychiatry. And I mean,
But then again, it makes me wonder if he has, like, one of those really high IQs for someone his age, so he just starts, like, deteriorating inside and gets all emotionless, so. But yeah, they go on the date.
So they go on the date, and Connie says they're going to play hide and seek, and Henry cuts the power and says he bets he finds her first.
I don't know if you noticed, but as the parents were, like, driving away, like, all the lights in the house were turned on.
Yeah.
What a terrible waste of money.
They're rich. They don't care, I
guess. Like, so, every single light was on.
I don't know what they do for a living, but whatever it is, it's really good. So Mark is frantically looking for her and runs into Henry, who has a flashlight. Mark says, no fair, but Henry's like, what, do you think this is a game?
Yeah.
Which,
oh, no. I would be like, man, I just want to go home.
I know, this is not my life. What the heck is going on? My mom just died, and I'm thrown into this really crazy world.
Yeah.
Henry does find her first, but instead of hurting her, he tickles her. Mark comes in and gets her, saying he will read her a bedtime story if she'll go to bed, and she's like, okay.
She betrays her brother.
Yeah.
Which I think is very important, because then he's all like...
Right, and calls her vermin like he had called her vermin.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, she chooses Mark over him, and so he's like, cool.
Yeah, that whole jealousy thing comes back, too.
So, Mark does read her the bedtime story, and she falls asleep. As Mark's leaving, Henry comes in and talks as if he wants to hurt her. And he's like, what are you going to do, sleep her all night and watch her? So, Mark literally camps out on her floor to keep her safe. But in the morning, she's gone. Susan and Wallace are talking about the Richard situation. And Mark overhears Susan say that Connie went ice skating with Henry at Miller's Pond. So Mark is like...
yeah, like, oh no.
So Mark books it to the pond to try and save her, but he's running across the ice with regular shoes, as well as running into everyone. Did you notice that? Like everybody's like, hey, get out of the way and everything. I'm like, you see this kid.
Yeah.
Maybe you go around him. He's clearly got an issue going on.
Right, but you know how it is skating. You can't... If you're going... in a circle of motion, and this kid's trying to blast through everybody. I mean, that's not fair to them.
Okay,
I can't control where I'm going when I'm skating.
Well, these are adults, in my opinion. So
so am I. I'm damn near an adult too.
No, you are. No, I'm saying, when's the last time you went skating?
Last year.
All right, well, fine. I stand corrected. You're talking about regular skating. I'm talking about ice skating. I guess it's the same.
Well, I did rollerblading.
Okay. Either way.
Blades.
In my opinion, I feel like the people could have tried to not, but he's running into literally every single person between him and.
Did you notice when they in the background you could see other people just falling?
Yeah,
it was making me laugh.
Yeah,
I was like, ha ha ha.
That's
you're in the movie and you fell.
And you fell. See, that's me, kids.
Loser.
So Henry starts to skate really fast in a circle, holding on to Connie near thin ice, and then he whips her onto it, like he chucks her. She stands up and falls down into the ice. Henry climbs out as if he's trying to save her, but he only holds his hand over her, like outraged. Yeah. Like he's not really trying to grip her or anything like that. He's just making it look from afar as if he's trying to help her. Because, I did everything I could. Not that he has to say that, but...
Right. If anybody's
going to ask, what did you do? Well, yeah, we saw him go out there. He tried to do what he could, but he's only a kid, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
She sinks below, but two men are able to break through the ice and save her, which is...
I thought it was nice that she didn't die.
Yeah.
Because you do have a bunch of adults there. There's got to be somebody with the backup plan in case something like that happens.
Yep. We then see Wallace and Susan at the hospital, and Wallace says that Connie is okay. Mark goes to talk to Susan about Henry while she is out on the cliff, but she smacks him up for saying it's a lie. Like, he literally tries to tell her hey, here's what's going on. I don't think it was an accident, and Henry's not a really good person. And she's all smack.
Yeah. And then she hugged him.
Yeah. But, I mean, the smack kind of does me in as a kid.
Right.
So.
No, I mean, yes. But to hug him afterwards is very...
Yeah.
awful, if you ask me.
So Susan says she loves Henry and to never come with these lies again. Later at the hospital, it looks like Henry is going to smother Connie, but Susan is there and stops him, which Henry lies and says that he was just worried about Connie. Because it's like, how did you get to the hospital?
Right.
Did you walk there?
But it was also odd because, like, when he was going home, he's like, I'm going to go back home. She just let him go. I guess you're going to walk home, too. Like, what kind of parenting is that?
Rich parenting, I guess, because
like,
the rich
care
don't make
about
it.
your kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if my kid died, I'd be like really strict all of a sudden.
This poor lady. I even said that when we were watching the movie again. I'm like, man, the luck with kids with this poor lady is horrible. You got where your babies died and drowned. Now you almost have your other child drowned. You know.
Oh, yeah. You know, I didn't even think about that. The similarities of the death.
Yeah. I'm like, you're not. No. And I'm not letting my kids be alone with Henry either, but that's just me.
Right, but I mean, as a parent, you wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, I guess.
But it did seem like there was some truth. Like, I like that she slapped him.
Yeah.
But then, even later on, still questions Henry. Like, she starts questioning her own child.
Yeah,
like,
was that
there was some truth to the words where she was like, damn, you know, my kid is actually kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah, she asked Henry what happened on the ice, and he lies and even goes into how much Connie means to him. Like, he knows what he needs to say, and he says it. He can show the emotion, not necessarily feel the emotion. Mark calls his dad on the phone and tells him about Henry and him being evil, and that he killed the dog and he tried to kill Connie. Like, he's flat out telling his dad what's going on, and
right.
he tells Mark to go to the psychiatrist and tell her what he told him,
but that he'd be there in a few days too.
Right, but thanks. So Mark is like, okay. However, when Mark gets there to the psychiatrist, he finds Henry is there, and Mark is like, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
He says,
which makes you think that he was on the phone line listening in.
Right. He says that Henry has her full too and leaves. Henry then goes into how Mark scares him sometimes with the things that he does, and basically tells her about the stuff that he does, but says it's Mark. So that's
framing him.
Yeah, so basically building it out to make him look like he's the crazy one, and he's the one that's hurting people and everything like that. Henry comes to Mark in the tree fort, and they have a discussion about how Susan is Mark's mom, and Henry tells him not to F with him. Which again was a really intense scene because he's like, Mark, and he stops and looks up and he's like, don't F with me. And he's like,
scary.
I mean,
he's scary.
This kid has no problem. You see that he has no problem killing. What are you thinking about?
I'm gonna be best friends with him.
Right, you're gonna be my friend because
I'll kill people too. I mean, it's either you or me. You know,
if it's what I've got to do.
If it's what I got to do, I'm gonna do it.
So later that night, Mark checks on Connie and sees she is okay, and then goes to the kitchen where he sees the light on in the fridge, and Henry confronts him and acts as if he did something to the food. He's like, what? You think I would poison my family and their food? So then Henry runs up and wakes his parents up, and he's like, hey, it's Mark. And they find him literally throwing all the food down the garbage disposal.
What are you supposed to do?
And they're like, Wallace looks unenthused about the whole situation.
Yeah,
because
all,
Susan's
$100.
Oh, you're talking about like all their food.
Yeah.
Like everything. Like you see the big plate of spaghetti and meatballs. I was like, man, that looks really good.
It looked really good. It did look really good.
And I'm like, you left it on the plate all nice. But yeah. So Susan finally stops him and Wallace takes him back to bed and he's like, yeah, we'll talk about this in the morning. He's like, what's the point? You're not going to believe me anyway. Susan sees Henry in the hallway looking menacing and tells him to go to bed.
Back into the room.
Yeah.
It was really creepy.
She's like, go to bed, Henry. The next day, Susan decides to go snooping into Henry's shed, and while she is there, she finds a rubber duck.
Did you see the doll with a noose around
with
the
noose, which she just pushed out of the way.
Yeah, what a terrible mother.
I'm sorry.
You're literally delusional.
Not just that, but there were like dolls pinned to the wall and everything like that. Like, it didn't look like a happy place. boys will be boys can only go so far.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Doll in the noose is going to get it from me. I'm sorry. So, and then you're going to find the duck.
Yeah. So Henry comes in and busts her, and she confronts him about if anything is wrong. He plays it off and says nothing is wrong with him. She shows him the duck, and he is like, "Where'd you get that?" And she's like, "You know where I got this, you know I've been looking for this duck. That's Richard's duck." And he was like, "No, that was mine first."
Yeah, mine first.
So they have a back and forth about the duck and how she was looking for it, and he's like, "Can I get it back?" And she's like, "No."
Yeah.
So he once again goes into the lying voice, but when his mom won't budge on the duck, he attacks her and grabs it from her.
You know what? I can't even blame her for letting go, because kids get this weird hold on you, and they twist it out somehow with their little nimble fingers.
Yeah.
And there's just no way to hold on to things.
So he runs off and goes to the well in the cemetery and throws the duck down there with the dog.
And you know it wasn't
everything else.
It wasn't even spiteful.
No, he
did it like toss, because otherwise he would have like waited for her to get there and seen him do it.
Yep.
It wasn't playing. He was like, if I can't have it, nobody can.
Nobody can. Right.
So.
Yep. So Susan is at the cliff again, where she thinks about Richard and seems to be having some troubling thoughts. In my opinion, like I think she's kind of thinking back. Because at this point, you're
thinking like maybe Mark was right.
Right. Mark catches Henry practicing faking crying in the mirror, and they have a discussion about not hurting Susan. Because he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, it's your mom," and he starts to do that.
Yeah.
What do you think I would hurt my mom? And then he's like, "Wait a minute. Why am I even wasting my breath?" And I'm like, "God, you're good. I mean, you were just good." Mark takes scissors and puts them against Henry's neck, threatening him.
Well, I thought it was a knife.
No, it was scissors. It was scissors.
Oh.
Yeah, they were just really pointy. And Henry tells him, "Go ahead and do it." He's like, "You got to do it." And he's like, "It's going to squirt across the room." Like Henry is envisioning it. Like he has no fear. And he's kind of like, "Wow, is Mark going to do it?" But Wallace comes in and sees it, and he's like, "Hey, Henry," and he's like, "Holy cow!" And he freaks out on Mark and like rips the scissors out of his hands and everything like that.
Yeah, because from the dad's point of view, this has got to be something else,
Yeah, absolutely, because that you've got. I walk in and you've got a pointed object at my son's throat.
But he's not even like questioning Henry. Like the mom's questioning him. So
Right.
if the mom had walked in, she probably would have been like,
I don't know, but either way, his reaction though, Wallace's reaction is not how I would have gone with it. He throws Mark into the study, locking him in until he is ready to talk. He's like, "You're going to stand here until you're ready to talk." "I'm sorry, I just caught you with knives to my kid's throat. It's going to be a different reaction, but whatever." Mark sees Susan come in home, and Henry runs to her, starting to lie again. But she tells him to stop and says they need to talk. Like he's like, "I cleaned out the shed and blah, blah, blah." And she's all, "No, dog. We're going to go talk." So Henry asks if they can go for a walk like they used to, and she says, "Okay." So Mark uses a chair and breaks out a window, but once again, Wallace grabs him up. And the psychiatrist is there as well, but he's able to get away from Wallace and runs past both of them and starts to chase after Susan and Henry. So in the woods, Susan confronts Henry about killing Richard, and he is like, "So what if I did?" Like straight face, "So what if I did?"
It kind of made me think of like him trying to play the "I'm your kid" role, and was like,
right, what
are you gonna let me get away with because I'm your kid?
Right. But,
so it's like, okay, what if I did? And
right. She says they'll get him.
Yeah, like, "You're my mom. What are you gonna do?
Right.
You gonna send me away?"
And I think that was what he was actually, like he was trying to feel it out. She says they'll get him help, but he says he would rather be dead, and runs toward the cliff because he's like, "No, you're going to try and send me away. I don't want to get put away, blah, blah, blah." She chases after him and thinks he jumped off, but instead he is behind her, and he bum rushes her and pushes her over the ledge. And he's like, "What do you think I would jump?" Like, you would think I would kill myself. No. She does slide down and catch herself on the.
Oh God! Did you see her knuckles?
Yeah, they were all.
They
bloody.
were rough,
she was beat up,
bro, dude. It was disgusting. Yep. I felt awful.
So Henry is about to throw a boulder down on her, but Mark shows up.
And like an actual like whole, he was gonna chuck it down and like fall.
He was killing her.
He was killing her.
Mark does show up and stops him by tackling him. They fight and roll around while Susan climbs back up the cliff, which, P.S., good job by her, because I'm going to tell you, if I could even stop myself, I'm not going to be able to climb back up.
No, I don't have the upper body strength for that at all.
Help.
I'm stuck there. I'm going to try and slide down.
And I'm probably going to be in sandals or something stupid.
No.
I'm gonna just.
You would have got yourself.
I'm going to try and dive out Bella style out into the water,
It was all rocks. There was nowhere to go, dude. There was nowhere to go.
Well,
there was at least 25 feet before you hit actual water.
I guess I'm rock style because it's not.
I was gonna try and you're already in enough pain. Just slide down the rest of the side of the cliff and try to get down.
As I fall, I love you. As I fall.
To who are you saying that to? Him?
Somebody. I don't know. Somebody, because it sucks. Yeah. I've got no hope.
Send my last prayers out and then die.
Yeah. But she like literally body strains herself back up the cliff, which was really impressive. Like bare finger that.
Yes. So that's so important too.
She reaches the top and grabs them both just as they're going over the cliff themselves. She has a boy in each hand, and both are begging for the other hand.
Did you hear what he was saying? He was like, "Mom, I love you. Mom, I need your other hand."
Yep. Henry is doing his "Mom, I love you" bit.
Trying to do what you want to hear type thing.
Yep. And poor Mark is just asking, please.
Oh my gosh. Did you hear the shaking in his voice too? He's like, "Help me."
Yeah.
He's like, "Please." Dude, it was so sad. It was so interesting. Because even in that state, Henry had no emotion to his voice.
Yep. And again, you have to put yourself in their situations. Henry's assuming this is my mom. I love you. You're going to save me. Even though I just tried to almost throw a boulder on your head and pushed you over the cliff.
Yes.
Please, I'm your son. And poor Mark, from his point of view, that's your son.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not your son.
You don't believe me that he's crazy either,
I'm going to get dropped.
Yeah.
And so all you can say is, please.
Yeah.
So Susan looks at both of
them.
Awful.
Oh
yeah, he was slipping hard.
That would have broke her finger. I'm sorry.
That little hand holding on to that little thing. I was like, wow.
That would have broken your. That would have broken.
That's a lot of weight on your finger.
Yes.
But, so yeah, she's looking at both of them and she's crying and screaming, but she's got no strength to do it. And she just says Henry and then lets him go. And Henry falls to his death.
Oh, and it was rough. It showed him too.
Yep. On the water, all washed up.
In.
Yep. So she is able to pull Mark up, and Henry is dead below on the rock and then gets washed out to sea. We then see Mark standing in the desert as he was at the beginning of the movie, and a voice over him plays, wondering if Susan would have made the same choice if she had to do it over again, which is a really good question.
Yeah.
I mean, that split the second, what do you do? And then the movie fades to black.
I don't know. My kid tried to kill me, And I think she kind of was trying to thought of Mark as Richard, sort of.
Yeah, and I guess this poor lady. Yeah. I mean, the trauma. I'm pretty sure that marriage is over, and she's going to go lock herself up somewhere because, now she's got to go back in from and her
husband's going to tell her what he saw too,
right?
And she's going to be like.
Right, from her point of view, from his point of view, Mark is the aggressor. From the psychiatrist's point of view, Mark is crazy.
Yes.
And now she's going to come and say, "Oh no, I was holding both of their hands and I dropped Henry."
But Henry tried to kill me,
Because Henry tried to kill me, and he killed Richard, and they're going to be like, "What?" And he probably has tried to kill Connie as well. I mean, now all you've got left, because Mark left. He went back to Arizona with his dad.
Yes.
Now all you got is Connie. And, what are you going to tell Connie that her brother tried to kill her? Probably not. But you'll know that in your head. I mean, how do you... And then you'll always wonder, is this a genetic thing? Or is Connie going to start,
right,
killing birds and stuff like that? I mean... It's a pretty messed up thing to have to live from, situational wise, in my opinion, for everybody involved. for everybody involved. I mean, even Mark's dad, because you're the one that put him there.
Right. So, and Mark told him about it, too, so it's not like the dad's going to be surprised.
Right.
He'd be like, what were you talking about with all this?
Right. Yeah, I told you.
And then the kid's dead, you know, I'd be really concerned.
Yeah.
Be like, great, my kid's crazy, you know?
Right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
How much? So your overall thoughts on the film and experience?
I thought the ending was kind of lame.
You did not like the ending?
No, no. Just the one part where he's zooming out on him. And I thought that was a horrible way to end it.
I thought it was weird. I didn't think it was necessary.
I wanted more from it. If they had ended it just there, I would have been like, okay. But then the whole, I never asked her why. And then he's in the desert. Like, what? What? Right. We don't even get to see his parents coming back or like cops showing up or anything like that.
Right. Yeah,
but I thought it was an excellent film overall.
I actually thought it ended. I forgot that it went back to that, and I know that's a question I should never ask, and blah blah blah. And I forgot about that. I was like, unnecessary. Yeah. You could have ended it off the cliff.
Agreed.
Cool. Would you recommend it to a friend?
I would.
Nice. And how many moves do you get out of 5?
A 4.5.
A 4.5? You know what? I'll agree with that. A 4.5. For the genre, for the movie, for the time, I don't think that it loses anything story-wise. Over time, how sometimes movies are like, I don't think that there's anything that happened in this that's so far removed that it's anything like that. So. Yeah. What else do you have?
Favorite character?
Favorite character, of course. My favorite character is Mr. Highway.
Really? What the hell? Oh, mine's the doll with the noose around her neck.
No, to be honest, it's Mark, man. I think, that's a toughie. I'm gonna have to say it's a tie between Mark and Henry.
No, I gave it to Henry.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think that they both sell their characters so well.
I think he just does it better.
And
I think he does a better job of it. I think they both did a really good job. This is an excellent acting on both parts.
Yeah.
I just think to go from Home Alone kid to I Kill People kid.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I gotcha.
Excellent. That must have been a lot of pressure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Least favorite character?
My least favorite character is probably Wallace, because who is Henry's dad. Yeah. Just because he just seems so
Wait, Henry's dad or Mark's dad?
Henry's dad.
Oh, mine would probably be Mark's dad.
Yeah, for leaving in the first place. But Henry's dad is the one that recommends it.
Oh, that's fair.
He's at the funeral and he's like, yeah, you know
right, what? But I can recommend you to go kill a bunch of animals. Doesn't mean you have to.
That's true. I get it, but I still think he could have taken him with him to Tokyo. Of course, then we wouldn't have a movie, but
yes, agreed. True. Had to happen for the movie.
Yeah, but I think that he could have
in an actual situation like that.
Yep.
Makes you wonder what would have happened anyways.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, Henry, he'd grow up, or maybe he'd have a friend come over to the house, and the same thing happens, or he's like, oh, I really like your mom, and he's like, great, now you have to die.
Yeah.
Or let me come show you some of the things I like. Oh, you're crazy, I'm gonna tell the cops. Oh, really? I'll tell the cops.
I'll tell the cops. You're gonna die.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is probably the cliff scene. When, just that twisted ending to where she's got to make that decision, and she looks at her son and she drops him. He's laying on the rock.
That was really hard too. That's 2 of your kids now that are dead.
Right.
2 out of 3 striking out.
Right. And this one I don't want to say she's responsible for, but you're responsible for.
Right.
Either way, you're murdering a kid.
I find it hard to believe that, he would have left her. Honestly, I feel like he would have stayed in that household.
Oh, Mark, because he thinks that's the mom.
Yeah, I feel like he would have really wanted to stay, with Connie and everything.
Yeah.
So, but how are you going to stay with the dad being all crazy? So
yeah, Wallace is
unless they did a wife swap thing. His dad came in.
But then again, he may have wanted to stay, but every time that they look at Mark, he's going to be a reminder.
Yeah, true.
Of Henry. And the fact that, so probably don't want him around too much. And also, P.S. psychiatrist, you don't get to have a job anymore. Because you're horrible
awful.
at your job.
Horrible at your job. horrible at your job.
I don't believe in evil. Oh, don't really? You should, because guess what? Henry's evil. So, yeah. Anyway, that's madness. What else you got?
Oh, is it for me?
All right, so some trivia.
Yeah.
All right, so as I had told you, Richard and Connie are played by Macaulay Culkin's real-life brother and sister, Rory Culkin and Quinn Culkin.
What a hard name.
Yeah.
Culkin.
Macaulay and Rory and Quinn and Culkin.
Those kind of awful names.
Yeah.
Macaulay.
Culkin. There was a lot of drama with his family back in the day. Like literally, I didn't really go into it, but his dad threatened to pull him if he didn't get this part. He was going to pull him from Home Alone Part 2.
Oh.
Like, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really weird. The whole Culkin family and
power hungry, maybe?
I guess the parents wanted money. So,
right, I mean,
oh, you need a little baby? Well, we happen to have one laying around here somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
here, use my daughter too.
Yeah, she can act. There you go. Despite the fact that Macaulay Culkin taunts and threats Elijah Wood for much of the movie, they did become very close friends during production and remain such to the present day, which I think is pretty good.
That is nice.
The cigarette that Mark and Henry smoke was an empty tube filled with dried parsley and lettuce leaves. So, it's just an empty tube, kid. They didn't really smoke anything.
How do you get the smoke in your mouth then?
I don't think they really even have this. It's parsley and lettuce leaves. It's not tobacco. I can't imagine that's very good for you either, but it's not tobacco. So, kind of a sad part. One Halloween, some pranksters near Detroit imitated the scene in which Henry and Mark throw Mr. Highway over the overpass. Oh. And a pregnant woman swerved on the road to avoid hitting them, and she actually died. She thought it was a real person. So, yeah, you gotta love people doing stupid stuff. It's a movie. We don't go out and do stupid stuff. So,
I bet those kids are psychopaths.
Yeah.
Or I bet there was the one kid that didn't actually want to go along with it. No, he's traumatized for the rest of his life.
Right, of course.
Like, damn.
The
mark of the friend group.
Yeah. You're the mark. Do you look at your friends and do that now, like with movies?
I'm the Henry of most friend groups.
Oh God,
I can't do that.
Oh, no.
I can't do that.
I'm Henry.
I try to be better
every freaking time.
I try to be a good mix of both of them, but no, I'd probably be the Henry of friend groups.
Oh man,
I try not to be Connie.
Right. Out of everything, I don't want to be a Connie.
Yeah, if anything, I don't want to be Connie.
The movie is partly inspired by The Bad Seed. And have you ever seen or read that?
I don't think so. Sounds kind of familiar, though.
They did a remake on it with Rob Lowe, which is a really good, as far as remakes go.
No, I've never seen this.
It's an old black and white movie, and it's good, man. So the way that Henry does, where...
Oh my gosh, is this the movie with the girl tries to seduce the dad or something?
No. Okay, that's a different movie.
There's a movie with that where she's like possessed or something, and she tries to come to the household, and she's like, ooh, and it was really weird. But I think about that.
Yeah, there was one called The Orphan.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I saw that like once when I was a kid, and I was like, this is insane.
Yeah,
what's going on right now?
That was like, she turned out to be a really old lady.
Baby or something?
She kills the psychiatrist lady. That's whatever, and there's a lot of murder, but that's a little different. That's a woman acting like a little kid. This is a little girl who literally has no emotion whatsoever, but she can play to her mom real well. And she wants this little boy's shoes. And so she kills him. I'm pretty sure she throws him down a well. Because she wants the shoes. And then she has the shoes and she hides them. And it's crazy, dude. It's a crazy movie. So my mom loves The Bad Seed. And they did, like I said, they did the remake with Rob Lowe. And it was really good too. She pushed him off a cliff. Not the dad. She pushed the kid off a cliff and acted like the kid fell. But no, she wanted what he had and she killed him. Kids are scary. Like you said, kids are real scary. So what else you got?
Nothing else.
Nothing else? All right, we're going to wrap this up tonight then. I'd like to thank everyone for stopping by and listening to our 30th episode, which is really crazy to have 30 episodes. We do deeply appreciate it more than you could imagine. Of course, the best way you can say you love us is to do what everybody asks for you to do, which is stop by and give us a review. 5 stars is appreciated, but be honest. You can email us at the yesteryearpodcast@gmail.com. Twitter is twitter.com/yesteryearpcast. Instagram is instagram.com yesteryearpodcast. Facebook is facebook.com/yesteryearpodcast. We do have our group, the Truffle Shufflers. Our secret question is the host names, James and Beth. And of course, we do have our website, the Yesteryear Podcast. If you don't want to have to bother going on and getting a pod listener or any of that stuff, you can actually just listen to the episodes right online, right from our website, which is really cool. Leave us a message on there. You can shop through our merch on there. You can do all kinds of stuff through our website, which is very cool. Patreon, if you'd like to support us financially, which is a nice gesture, is www.patreon.com/the nostalgia group. Shout out to Greg Revan for doing our music for us. And as always, we do love you, and we say goodnight. Say goodnight, Beth.
Good night, everyone.
So, but we can't say the things that we normally say on our podcast.
That is correct.
So I couldn't say something like beep,
and
like that.
I definitely couldn't say beep, 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 and beep.
I am not doing this bit.
Too late.
He's too deep in. Anyway, this is Alex Austin from Ronan Geek Official Podcast. And in the room with me today, I have...
Plebeian Pirate Adam.
And
just Rob.
And just Rob. And we are here to advertise Ronan Geek Official Podcast. We are a geek news and comedy podcast direct out of Windsor, Ontario, Canada. So if you want some Canadian flavor on your geek comedy news, make sure to give us a listen each week for gaming, movies, and TV. We'll give you some reviews. We'll give you some spoilers. And we'll give you probably a lot of other stuff you didn't ask for. So there you go. So join us wherever you find your podcast. And we look forward to having you listen to us.
Yay.
Elijah, are you ready to bring on the weird?
Yes, Will I am. Are you ready to bring on the weird?
Did you just make a Will I am joke?
Yeah, I did.
Nice. I'll allow it. Anyway, we're just a couple of harmless guys digging into weird things we don't know much about.
We're just trying to figure out what the hell is happening in the world outside our homes.
Do we get things wrong?
Without a doubt.
Are we learning from those mistakes?
Not anytime soon.
Are you entertained by the crap we're talking about?
Of course. That's why I always listen to the show.
You listen? Alright, what do you like to listen to about the show?
I like aliens, conspiracies, cryptids, NWO, shadow government, you name it.
What? Oh, hold on. Do the aliens come from inside the Earth instead of interstellar travel? What made the conspiracy start? Why did that cryptid evolve to do the things it does? Who runs this NWO?
Listen in as we dive into all manners of subjects as we bring on the weird.
You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. You can listen to clips of our episodes on our YouTube channel.
Listen, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser.com. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever else you listen to your favorite podcasts.